they're not just grooming your children in their sexual and gender ideology. They're also using CRT to turn them into good little communists.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Wojcik. Thank you for coming to my informational seminar. So Dr. Cost gave us a frequently asked question last week in email form. And one of the questions that I asked and many other parents asked was, does the American Cancer Society believe that this 5G tower is safe, or do they think that more research is needed to determine if there are long-term health effects? The American Cancer Society. And so, Dr. Cost replied, well, that's a question to ask the American Cancer Society. So I think in 3 minutes here, we can find the answer if we all pull together. This is a packet of information that Dr. Cost passed out at her informational meeting. And I think if I just scroll through, I can find the answer, carry the one to the 10th power. Oh, it's on the front page. How could she have not known that? In the dead center. At this time, there's no strong evidence that exposure to RF waves from the cell phone towers cause any noticeable health effects. However, this does not mean that the RF waves from cell phone towers have been proven to be absolutely safe. Most expert organizations agree that more research is needed to help clarify this, especially for any possible long-term effects. So we all have the privilege of having our kids at Washington Elementary School for $1,000 a month to be part of this research. Congratulations, everyone. Now, Ms. Cost always parrots the FCC regulation that, well, we're within the standards. That standard, that regulation, was created in 1996. Now, who had a cell phone in this room, show of hands, in 1996? I'm not even looking behind me because I know the answer, nobody. So you're talking about a regulation that was in place for technology that was non-existent to everyone in this room. Thank you.
You know you're in a cult if 1. You believe you are what your imagination says you are. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 6. You believe reality isn't real. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 10. Thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, who didn't know how many Oscars she'd won, them can't count. You know you're in a cult if 11. You will cry in protest to take a real black woman off a syrup bottle and a Quaker off a box of oats named Quaker Oats, only to put a fake white woman on a beer can. All while saying, I can't believe they're so upset over a beer can. Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch's stock has lost $27 billion over Dylan Mulvaney. You know you're in a cult if 13. If you get triggered because someone doesn't think you're special because you were born into one of the CRT-approved victim groups, they believe deeds and personal responsibility warrant pride. You know you're in a cult if 18. Lost your shit over To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn but are screaming about banning books with gay sex and masturbation in school libraries. You know you're in a cult if 20. Will lie even with irrefutable evidence. You know you're in a cult if 21. Being so filled with hate, you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own children, all while calling your opposition fascists. You know you're in a cult if 22. Believes that out of 7 billion people on the planet, white, straight, males are somehow oppressing everyone else. You know you're in a cult if 23. Will lose your shit when someone points out that you're not oppressed, you're just stupid. You know you're in a cult if 25. Will refer to a biology book as right-wing propaganda. You know you're in a cult if 26. Will lose your shit if someone actually uses proper English, instead of your made-up pronouns. You know you're in a cult if 32. Are the same people who say you can't indoctrinate kids to be gay with a book or a drag show, but continually accuse the church of doing that very thing. Although religion isn't taught in schools, and you're not forced to go to church. You know you're in a cult if 33. When someone is simply talking science and common sense, you will try to bring religion into it. Well, you know the church. Well then, don't go to church. It's not against the law. Not going to school is. You know you're in a cult if 34. Will use unrelated behavior to justify their sick, grooming behavior. You know you're in a cult if 39. Will lose your shit when someone says you're in a woke cult, and to prove you're not, you do the things on this list over and over and over. You know you're in a cult if 40. Will accuse your opposition of that which you are guilty. You know you're in a cult if 46. Consider chemically castrating a pedophile horrible and inhumane, but chemically castrating a child just dandy.